I remember the exact moment my life changed. I was 23 years old, sitting in a plastic chair outside a ward at Manchester Royal Infirmary, still wearing my work uniform, and a doctor came out and told me my dad hadn't made it. Heart attack. No warning. Gone. And I know what you're thinking, this is a finance video, why is she talking about grief? But here's the thing. When I got home that night and my mum sat me down at the kitchen table, she slid a folder across to me. And inside that folder was the reality of our family's finances. £40,000 in debt. No savings. No life insurance. A mortgage 2 months behind. And me, a 23-year-old on $19,000 a year working in retail, suddenly the only person who could do anything about it. 8 years later, my net worth crossed £1 million. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because if you told me that night, sitting at that kitchen table absolutely terrified, that it was even possible, I would have laughed in your face. So stay with me, because this is the real story. The slow, unglamorous, sometimes boring truth of how it actually happened. My dad had worked his whole life. Decent man, hard worker, never complained. But he'd never really talked to us about money. A lot of dads from that generation didn't, did they? So when he passed, we discovered he'd been managing debt on credit cards, had a small personal loan, and the mortgage on our semi-detached in Salford was still a long way from being paid off. My mum was 54 and hadn't worked full-time in years. My younger brother was still in 6th form. And me? I had £800 in my current account and I was living at home because Manchester rents were getting ridiculous. The debt broke down like this. £14,000 on credit cards. £9,000 on a personal loan. £6,500 in mortgage arrears. Around £10,000 in other bits and pieces. I sat down with all of it laid out on the table and I genuinely felt sick. But instead of ignoring it, I bought a £2 notepad from the corner shop and wrote every single number down. That notepad changed everything. Because the moment you see your problem clearly, it stops being this terrifying fog and starts being a list. And lists can be worked through. I started tracking every single penny using a free app. And what I found genuinely shocked me. Money was leaking everywhere. 3 unused subscriptions. Takeaways 3 or 4 times a week. Energy bills that hadn't been switched in 6 years. We were right in the middle of the cost of living crisis. Energy bills through the roof, council tax up again, food shopping costing twice what it used to. So I built what I now call a survival budget. Fixed costs first: mortgage, council tax, utilities, minimum debt payments. Then essentials: food, transport, my brother's school stuff. Everything left over went toward debt. We switched energy providers. Went down to one streaming service. I meal prepped every Sunday. Eating the same pasta bake 4 days in a row is genuinely grim, but it worked. Within 3 months I had an extra £340 a month I hadn't had before. Just from looking at where the money was actually going. I used the snowball method to attack the debt. You list debt smallest to largest, pay the minimum on everything, and throw every spare pound at the smallest one first. Once that's gone, you roll that payment onto the next. My first clear debt was a £900 store card. Took 4 months. The day I paid it off, I rang my mum and we had a little cry together. Sounds daft, but that's the truth of it. I made mistakes too. 6 months in, I spent £400 on a weekend away and it set me back almost 2 months. I learned to build a small £50 guilt-free buffer each month. That small permission actually made me more disciplined everywhere else. By month 18, we'd cleared £27,000 of debt. The mortgage arrears were caught up. We weren't in crisis anymore. Before investing a single pound, I built an emergency fund. 3 months of essential expenses. Around £3,800. Sitting in an easy access savings account. Not locked away, not invested, just there. Because if something goes wrong and you don't have that buffer, you'll be forced to sell investments at the wrong time or worse, go back into debt. Then at 25 I opened my first stocks and shares ISA. It's just a tax-free wrapper. Any growth inside it, no capital gains tax. Any dividends, tax-free. You can put in up to £20,000 a year. I started with £100 a month into a Vanguard FTSE Global All-Cap Index Fund. Boring, low-cost, tracking thousands of companies worldwide. My friends thought I was wasting my time. But they were absolutely wrong about what it becomes over time. Someone asked me to write product descriptions for their small Etsy shop. She paid me £60 for an afternoon's work. £60. Sitting on my sofa on a Saturday, thought, hang on. I set up a profile on a UK freelancing platform and started offering copywriting services, blog posts, product descriptions, email newsletters for small businesses. Within a year, I was making around £800 to £1,000 extra every month on top of my salary. And here is the critical thing I did. I did not lifestyle creep. No nicer flat, no new car, no eating out every night. Every pound of that side income went into 3 places: clearing remaining debt, topping up the ISA, and building a house deposit. Lifestyle creep is the silent killer of wealth. You earn more, you spend more, you feel richer, but your net worth barely moves. By 27, I increased ISA contributions to £500 a month. I also finally looked at my workplace pension properly. I'd been contributing the minimum for 4 years and leaving free money on the table. If your employer matches up to 5% and you're only putting in 3, you are turning down part of your salary. I bumped up to the full match immediately. I also started reading The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Changed how I thought about everything. And I followed Money Saving Expert religiously because that website has saved more ordinary British people money than almost anything else out there. At 28, I bought a 2-bed terraced house in Salford for £187,000 using a lifetime ISA. I'd fed £4,000 into it every year since 25, and the government's 25% bonus gave me around £15,000 toward my deposit for free. The mortgage cost less than rent would have. I was building equity. I turned the 2nd bedroom into a home office for the freelance work. Years 4 through 8 were not exciting. No viral moment, no lucky investment. I got a promotion at 29, not from grinding myself to pieces, just from being quietly reliable and upskilling in my own time. My salary hit $38,000. The freelancing was pulling in $1,500 to $2,000 a month. At 30, I went through a difficult breakup and my discipline fell apart for about 4 months. I stopped tracking, stopped topping up the ISA. I'm telling you this because consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means returning to the plan after you fall off it. By 31, my ISA and pension combined had crossed £200,000. I incorporated the freelance work as a limited company, which with an accountant's help made my tax situation much more efficient. Property equity around $65,000, ISA $280,000, pension $190,000, business savings around $180,000, just over $700,000 on paper. Cross £1.2 million by 33, £1.2 million. From a plastic chair in a hospital corridor and a folder full of debt. So what do I actually want you to take from this? Write the number down. Whatever your debt is, whatever your income, face it. Clarity beats fear every single time. Budget like it matters. You do not need to earn more to start building wealth. You need to see where the money is going and redirect it. Build your emergency fund before you invest. Protects everything else. Open a stocks and shares ISA today. Start with whatever you can afford, even £25 a month. The date you start matters more than the amount you start with. Check your pension this week. Is your employer matching more than you're contributing? If yes, you are leaving part of your salary uncollected. Fix that now. Any extra income, side hustle, bonus, overtime. Give it a job before it arrives in your account or it will vanish. And don't do it alone. The UK personal finance subreddit helped me when I had nobody to ask. Money Saving Expert is free. Knowledge is free. I think about my dad a lot. He worked so hard and never saw the money side clearly, and I don't blame him, nobody taught him. My mum doesn't worry about bills anymore. My brother owns his flat. The grief never fully goes. But you can honor someone by refusing to stay stuck. If you're starting from zero in debt, or somewhere in the middle feeling lost, the boring, slow, consistent version of this genuinely works. You don't need to be exceptional. You need to be patient. If this helped you, please give it a like and drop a comment below. Where are you right now in your money journey? I read every single one. Subscribe for more honest UK personal finance content. No hype, no get rich quick, just real steps that actually work. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself and take care of your finances.